Hi, welcome again. This is Dami. This is Mixing Like a Pro. Today I want to do a video about gain staging. Gain staging is very important, right? At all stages of creating music, whether you're a producer, when you're tracking, when you're producing, you need to always think about gain staging. If you're mixing, you want to think about gain staging. Even mastering, you think about gain staging. If you're doing maybe analog mastering, right? You're careful of how much volume you're pushing into one equipment or the other, which the goal is to get really give yourself headroom, especially when you're mixing. So a few things I want to mention is, number one, you want to make sure that your individual tracks aren't clipping. The next one will be your mix bus. You want to make sure that you have headroom. So when imagine if you send your signals really heavy into your mix bus and then there is little to no space left and you are like this to almost clipping that mix bus. If you're like this to almost clipping, eventually it's going to clip because you have different peaks that are probably just going to clip and then come normalize itself again. So you want to make sure that you have proper headroom, and I'm going to just show you those things here and there. And then with your clip gain as well is huge. Actually, when it comes to gain staging on individual tracks, clip gaining is what really makes the difference. Clip gain or gain determines how much input your plugin gets as well. You need to feed your plugin at the optimal level to where those plugins are designed to react to the level. So you see some plugins give you the option for inputs, and especially Waves and other manufacturers too will show you, this is green, this is yellow, this is red, when you're to adjust your inputs, because the plugin needs a certain amount of gain for it to work properly, to work the way it's been designed. So let me show you, whether you're a producer or you're a mix engineer or you're tracking. Let's jump right into Pro Tools here. Also to note, this is not a Pro Tools thing. This is you can apply this logic on any DAW that you're using. So first of all, here let's look at maybe my bass track. So on the individual level right now, let's see if this is clipping and if it's too loud. So that sounds good. I think that's a good level. It might be on the low side where we can turn it up a little bit so that this can feed the plugin very, very well. Let me put actually maybe a CLA 70. So this shows that we're good even at that level right there. By default, the compressor is already reacting to a lot of the gain. But let's say in this case this was, and I'm gonna show you in Pro Tools how you can do that. So this is your clip gain in Pro Tools. Clip gain. It's different from the fader. So watch, I'm gonna pull this plugin out now. You see, the more I push this clip gain right here, the more it compresses, because this is basically me pushing into the compressor. Right? So that is that. And then the fader basically is what controls what goes to wherever this stuff is routed to. In this case, it's routed to the mix bus. So if I turn it all the way down, you probably won't hear anything. So this is basically just volume, adjusting the volume. So let's do an example. I'm going to go to the mix bus and let's see. So everything in the track is routed to my mix bus right here. And here's how you can control your mix bus gain staging. So if you've seen that with all my individual tracks, they're not clipping or anything, and then they are at the optimal level to where my plugins can benefit from that gain, then you're really good. But if everything was super loud, You can you might have to individually clip gain each track, right? To either pull it up or to bring it down if it's super loud. But then let's go to the mix bus. I'm gonna play the track and let's see exactly where we're at. I mean, things are pretty loud and nasty because the song is not balanced. That's going to be a different video that I'm going to do. So as you can see here, I think my levels here are pretty okay. But if what is coming into that plug, my master chain is too loud, you can use basically a trim plugin. In this case, this trimmer by Slate is here, and I can turn it down. Really, that's all. As simple as that. As long as your individual tracks aren't clipping, if you don't have the trimmer, you can basically use the trim plugin in Pro Tools, and I think other DAWs have that too. So I can basically come here and say I need to turn this down by like 6 dB. That's it. You've controlled what is going to your master bus. In cases where you have different groups that is feeding your master bus, like I normally do, I will have my bass, drums, all bass, all drums, vocals and all of that. You can go to those groups and just turn them down. Same thing applies too. You want to make sure that those groups are not clipping. So if those groups are clipping, you need to adjust what is feeding those groups. And also another thing is it's kind of crucial, right? Not crucial, but it's helpful to have your fader, up here around zero and all of that, right? So you have wiggle room to really move things around. Like I said, prevent clipping at all levels, when tracking, when producing. It's crucial when you're producing too, to always think of, the more that I add more instruments, the more things are going to get louder. So you might be tempted at first when you add in that kick drum to push it loud to where it's fine. Don't want to do that. Be mindful of you can turn up your monitoring, your speakers to hear it loud, but have a way you understand your meter, right? That if it's just a kick drum, I want it to always let me just play that. Maybe drums. Let's even just play the entire drums. So maybe this can give you an idea of what I'm saying. Saying all my drums, I want it to be at around maybe -20 when it's being played. And obviously these drums aren't like, okay, the kick drum is turned down, so I might need to even clip gain my kick drum because I think the volume coming in there is low. There you go. So the kick in. So I'm clip gaining right now. The snare as well. And the toms, just muting the toms. Okay, yeah, so that's basically right. Now I can add my bass. I'm building. It's showing right here that, okay, things are pretty loud. My kick drum. So I'm gonna bring the entire music in. So I can turn these guys down a little bit. Snare drum is loud for now. And so something to notice too, right? So it doesn't make you freak out is usually your kick and your snare especially, right? It has so much transient in it. You're gonna see just the snare only, right, move your meters a lot. and especially in the beginning of the mixing, don't be too scared about that, right? As you mix, maybe perhaps your volume, you can balance your volume, you can compress it, you can add some saturation to make it louder, but still the peak value is not increasing. So controlling the transient to where you don't lose the transient. So all of those tricks, those are the things that you do in the mixes, right? In your mixes that make your mix sound bigger and louder, without necessarily pushing your master fader and all of that. So I hope this video was a little bit helpful on gain staging. If you have more questions, you can really ask, and I'll be able to maybe do more videos on this. But if you're still here watching, I know for a fact that you like what you're hearing. So if you don't mind, please go and subscribe to my channel so you can get more videos like this as I release them in the future. And thanks, and don't forget to like the video as well. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful time recording and mixing. Bye.